Hi, in this lesson we will start routing the app. And what routing actually means is just that we redirect React components to the URL in the browser. Let me firstly open our beloved whiteboard here and explain to you so that you have a basic idea, and then we'll go into VS Code and build the router. So you already know this schema. This is the entry point of our app, is the index.js or JSX, sorry. And you know that whatever we have wrote here is what is going to be pushed into the index.html with the ID of root. Now, when we start our app, what we'll see on the screen is this about page, right? This one. And now the $1,000,000 question is, how are we going to change or switch between components so that when you go to localhost port 3000 / contact, for example, the app to switch to this like so to this component. Now this is where routing comes in. Routing or router is basically a library. React doesn't give us a default or standard library, so there are countless routing libraries on the internet. The one we are going to use is React Router DOM, and I think it's the most used from what I know. And what it does is basically, as I said, it's a library, and what it does, it basically takes all the functions, all the React functions that you have. Let me write here just React Router DOM, like so. So we configure it in a way so that when you go, for example, on yourdomain.com/about, it should bring up this component. When you go to yourdomain.com/contact, it brings up this component. And here we will not have about page anymore. We have a router like so. You will see that in code it looks different, but that is the main idea, and that is what you should understand. Now let's jump into our VS Code and go ahead install React Router DOM, yarn add React Router DOM. We can also find documentations about this router on Google, React Router DOM. If you need anything, here is everything you need to know. Alright, from switching to basically anything. So I'm gonna pause here until it's installed. Alright, it's done. Now what we are going to do is go into pages and create two components. The first one will be the about page. So about page. And the second one will be the contact page. Alright, let's create a component here, about page.tsx, and here a contact page.tsx. Okay, so now we are going to create a React component, import React from React, export, because we're going to export this component, const about page, and we will return for now just a div saying that this is the about page. Alright, it's yellow because it wants the Typescript type. We'll deal with it later. And I'm just going to copy this, say a contact page. and this is the contact page. Okay, so now what we want to do is go into index.tsx and do the following. Let's firstly rearrange. Okay, so we are going to import. So remember, we installed React Router DOM. This is the library that's going to allow us to route our app. So we are going to import. We want to use in the entry point. We want to use this router or this gate. You can look at this as a gate. So we are going to import router switch and route from React Router DOM. Yeah, so what's the problem here? Alright, so remember I told you that for some libraries we need to install the type version of that library so that it can work with our TypeScript. So I copied this line and just go ahead and install the types React Router DOM. Alright, now it works. So what we want to do is change this. We will go ahead and say router and open and close, and here we will have a switch. Now these tags are from React Router DOM. Remember, React Router DOM is also a library that gives us React components, which already you know that can be expressed as tags. And by the way, here is a router. Okay. Oh, and yeah, the router needs a history, but we're going to use history later. So we're gonna please change the router to browser router. And this browser, and this one should work. Okay. Now, what we will have inside switch tags will be our routes, and for that you already know that, and for that also we have a tag route. So it's also a self-closing tag. This route takes as a parameter a path, which is going to be like a like about. And also it takes a props called component, which is the component that it will show to the screen when you go to /about. So when we want to go to about, we want to show this about page. And this is exported from pages about page. So we'll say about page. And okay, so you can press command or control and dot. This code understands that you want to import this React component and it finds it for you. Okay, you see that it imported automatically. Alright, and let's make one for the contact page. Contact page as well, and import command dot import and move it. Okay, so let's recap here. We imported a browser router, and so let's recap a little bit. We imported a browser router, switch and route from React Router DOM. This is a library that is going to route our app, and the way it does is by creating a component called browser router, and it receives as a prop the switch component, which receives as a prop all the routes. What I have not told you is that you can also send props as a child. So remember, we had enough bar. We have counter. We had counter actually. counter, and we send as props default value in the previous app that we created, and we sent 5. Remember? Well, that is one way to send a prop. The second way is to send them as child. So we would have, what we would have is something along these lines: counter, and whatever is here is going to be sent as a child. And usually this is we send this way other React components like a div, so anything that is HTML, and that might be pure HTML or that may be all other React components. And you remember that we have received this prop value in the counter by typing props.default value. Well, you receive this by typing props.children, and that is the same thing. So that is how this works. Is a React component which receives as a prop child another component, and which receives these routes. Now let's check it in our browser. So save the file and go ahead and run yarn start. Okay, it has started. Now let's go on about page. Enter. Alright, so this is the about page. Let's write contact, and this is the contact page. And let's look into inspect element, and you will see how that happens. So body, and this is the contact component, and also what you see here is the contact component, meaning this one, from pages, contact pages, and we exported it into the route. Remember, route page slash contact, and on slash contact you should see to the screen contact page which we imported. Alright, so now if we go to about, you will see now this is the about page. So it switched the React components between them. Alright, so let's close this. Let's go back. Now we need one more thing. You saw that when we go on to the on localhost, just like that, nothing shows up. Well, that's because we only show React components when we go either to /about or /contact. So what we want to do is, so when the user hits just /, we want to redirect him to the /about, because that is going to be our main page, let's say. So what we want to do is go here and do one more little thing. We're gonna say route path like this, exact true, and here we need to import another component from React Router DOM called redirect. So we imported it from React Router DOM, and we say redirect to /about exact true, and that's it. Now it should work. Let's check it in the browser. Enter, and it works. About works, and without about, enter, works. So that is what essentially routing is. So you see, React Router DOM is like any other library, and what it does is essentially receive as props these components with the data that we want, and it does its magic by always checking what's the URL in the browser, and it shows the screen a specific component that matches that route. So /about, we're gonna show to the screen the about component. / contact, we're going to show to the screen the contact component. Now, if you are a beginner, you probably don't understand like in a deep level how this works, but trust me, with time you'll understand this pretty easily. For now, just create these routes and we can move ahead. We will also change this in the future. We will make it in a more professional manner by creating a different file for this code. But for now, it's okay so that you can see and understand better.